Hey everybody, Alan here. Ryan is not right now. Just wanted to touch base on this episode quick. This was one that we recorded back in August of 2016 and never saw the light of day because of technical issues. I recently went back and cleaned it up a bit, so the issues aren't as bad as they were. There might still be a few glitches here and there. So for that, I do apologize, but it's a really fun episode. Nice, short, and sweet, to the point. Ryan had never seen Clerks before, so we talked about that. Kevin Smith, Ben Affleck, all kinds of fun stuff. So enjoy the episode. We'll have a new episode next week, and just take it away past Alan and Ryan. So is your phone working?
It is. Why?
Because I text you, and then 24 hours later, I get a response.
I was extreme. Kristen, we're in the middle of discussing whether or not we're going to be staying at our apartment. Right. So we're doing apartment talk and looking.
It's just funny because every time, like, it seems like always 23 hours later that I get a response, like clockwork. Because I've had it before where I've texted. Yeah. I texted a professor in college about a final the night it was due.
Yeah,
and then I kid you not, 2 months later, he responded, "Which final? Who is this?" And I'm like, I sent this 2 months ago.
I'll admit, like, if I'm slow to respond to text messages. Whether it be I'm watching a movie, I'll be like, okay, I got the text. I'll put the phone down. I'll text them back after the film. And then when the movie's over, it's like, crap, I got to do this. Yeah. So I'll go do that. And then the next thing I'll know, I'll get a text message like 5 hours later from somebody else. And then I'll see yours or whoever texted me before, be like, oh, crap, I never responded to them.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing on Facebook. Like somebody will comment a picture and I won't reply back to them until like a week later. Mm-hmm. It's just...
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to You Have to Watch This Podcast. I'm Alan.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we're going to talk about a little indie film from
called
the 90s.
Clerks.
Called Clerks. Is this your first Kevin Smith film?
I have a question. Was this his first major film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this the first one you've seen? Or
I'm pretty sure I've seen other... Which other Kevin
Dogma,
Smith films? I've seen... I think we've talked about this. I've seen most of Dogma, I think. Yeah.
Those are the ones of note. Zack and Mary Make a Porno.
I've not seen that one because it just doesn't interest me.
Tusk, but never watched Tusk.
I'm not going to watch Tusk.
Is
that the one with Harry Potter? Or no?
No.
That's Horns. I'm thinking of Horns. Yeah. Okay.
Tusk is a whole other thing. But yeah, we watched Clerks. And yeah, it was Kevin Smith's first film.
Yeah.
The introduction of Jay and Silent Bob into film.
Movie cinema.
Yep. And yeah, so what'd you think?
Well, the fact that it's Kevin Smith's first film, I mean, it's great. It's a starting point. I love the soundtrack of the film, and I love the cat.
Okay.
Other than that...
Not a fan?
Honestly, I was bored.
Really?
Now, here's the thing. I think the reason why I was bored was because I've heard about this movie all of my life.
Yeah.
The fact that almost everybody I knew since like middle school on up would always bring up Clerks in some fashion or form. And there we go. And you got the whole Jay and Silent Bob thing. Kids would dress up as them for Halloween. I would have no idea who they were until people started explaining it a little bit more. And then I heard about Clerks 2, and then did they make a Clerks 3 or no?
They will. He has the script written.
Okay. So I've heard about it like practically my entire adult life, but I've never seen it. So partly it was like all of this like, okay, fine, I'm going to sit down and watch this movie. And I have to admit, at one point, I was thinking to myself, how long is this movie? And I paused Netflix, and only 35 minutes has went by. And I was like, no, it's felt like an hour. Yeah. You've got to be kidding me.
I think it feels like that because
it's such a slow-paced film.
It's not just slow-paced. It's a lot of dialogue, and it's a lot of stationary camera.
And see, the thing is, normally I'm fine with that. It just... I really think it boils down to, and I probably used that term already, but you and me have talked about off the podcast and at work, where we work mutual together, that how boring it would be if we made a movie about a day at our store.
Yeah, because we both work retail.
Yeah, and
that's how we've met.
And this movie is pretty much exactly that.
Yeah, only a lot less busy.
Only a lot less busy. And with one or two very uptight customers, which that part I love too.
Yeah.
I loved the different personalities that came through, because every single personality that came through that video store or that Quickie Mart, I've dealt with, and and so have you. But I don't know, it's just
we've even had. I think we've had to deal with a few of Jay and Silent Bob's as well.
Oh yeah.
So
being that this is a college town, definitely. Let's see, there was that. The one scene I was kind of, knowing who Kevin Smith is, the one scene I was kind of let down on, in all honesty, was the Star Wars talk.
Okay.
The one and only Star Wars talk in the entire movie I was kind of let down on.
Really?
Yeah. Here's the reason why.
Okay.
Of all of the different, in the early 90s, of all of the different fan theories that they could talk about, what they decide to talk about is all of the possible, and I'll stress, possible civilian contractors dying on the second Death Star.
Yeah.
I was disappointed by that talk. I was hoping for something a little bit more in depth, but then I realized the type of character that the guy who worked at the video store is, and he's not going to get that too in depth on things because he doesn't seem like he really cares. In all honesty, it was just some kind of spear of the moment thing.
I love the fact that they're having this conversation and then a roofer comes and like, oh yeah, like politics do play a thing in it.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't take a job for the Empire if I could help it.
And that part was good.
Yeah.
I like that because because that roofer definitely made a link between the local gangster in a Jersey town and the Empire. And that part to me was hysterical.
Yeah. It's funny because watching it last night, I haven't seen this since Force Awakens came out.
Yeah.
And so I watched it, and it's like, oh my God. J.J. Abrams referenced Clerks, referencing Star Wars, because Finn's the maintenance guy. He's the contractor who worked on the Death Star 3. So, and then Kevin Smith's in that movie too, because he's one of the voices of the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
So it's like full circle.
Well, I mean, it's when you have somebody who's as big as a fan as he is, you're going to have that. I mean, he's pretty much like the pulse of geek and nerd culture, pretty much, is when it comes to films and TV shows. But I mean, like I said, overall, I was kind of bored with it.
Okay.
In all honesty, I'm happy that I saw it because I've heard about this film for so long. I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Yeah. Would you be open to watching more Kevin Smith stuff? That was a little.
I
different?
would, because this film was his first. It was his launching point, and I heard somewhere that they made this movie for like nothing, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, it was done very cheaply.
Okay. Because
I'm not sure what the number is, because you hear different numbers depending on what year it is. Like the number either goes up a little bit or down a lot.
Because I definitely love the soundtrack to this movie. You had Alice in Chains, you had Bad Religion, which I was listening to on the way over here.
Okay,
like that era of music isn't my favorite, but it's definitely a core part of the music I listen to.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, it's my wife's favorite.
That like early 90s, mid 90s alternative punk type
my
stuff.
wife loves Alice in Chains. So
well, good for her.
Yeah, she started singing along last night during the movie. I was like, okay. What did you think of the hockey aspect?
I love hockey.
Yeah.
So I definitely liked it. And I kept on forgetting, and this is going to be weird for people. I kept on forgetting that it was taking place in New Jersey.
Okay.
I would get a hint, like the girls coming in and see their hair and their accent, and I would say Jersey. And then 5 minutes later, I would completely forget it's New Jersey, and then I would see the New Jersey lottery ticket signs on the window, and I would go, okay, this is take place in New Jersey, and then I'd forget it was taking place in New Jersey, and then I'd see something else. I'm like, oh, this is Jersey. Oh, this is Jersey.
Yeah.
All night, but the part that really stuck out, I'm watching it and I'm seeing all this Devils stuff, like, Devils hat, Jersey, and, people wearing Devils t-shirts because, I mean, granted, it's in Jersey. And the dude's wearing a Penguins jersey.
Which one?
The main character, the Damian. Dante. Yeah.
Okay.
He's wearing a Penguins jersey. And I'm thinking to myself, could have been Rangers, could have been the Flyers, could have been the Islanders. All closer teams.
Yeah.
The Penguins. But anyway, it's just a sore spot because we live in Penguin country. So that's whatever. But besides that, I like that, and I love the argument about losing the ball. Like, you only brought one ball. Yeah. I closed the shop for one ball.
Yeah. I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
I'm supposed to be here today. I guess one of the things that I got bored with was the constant, flow of philosophy through the movie.
Okay.
Just the constant, discussing of life, which I'm pretty sure was which was probably the point of the film.
A little bit, yeah.
Because, both the characters are, 22 years old. They're growing out of being, teenagers and thinking about high school. And then they're going on to, entering the real world. So there's a lot of, thinking of, where they are, where they want to be, why they're at where they're at. But it just went on for a little bit too long.
Yeah, and it was a lot of... I don't know if it went on too long. Because you have so much in between those things. You have the...
I must be thinking of some of the conversations, though.
Yeah. Some of the conversations do go on, a lot.
Yeah.
Dante and his ex-girlfriend talking in the video store. That did go on forever.
Oh, it did. It did.
They before that, you see Jay outside dancing.
Yeah.
And then they cut back to Jay dancing at the end of it. I'm like, he's still dancing?
Yeah.
You go, Jay. But... yeah, some of the conversations are long, but there's so much dialogue there, and it was, the way the script was done,
and it was just
wonderful.
back and forth. It reminded me of the way the Girls was kind of set up. Actually.
Exactly,
just where it's just constant
heavy dialogue.
Just heavy dialogue. But that conversation with him and his ex could have ended. I don't know. They could have. I guess they were trying to show an actual conversation about how people can kind of say one thing, then it getting to be misinterpreted, then bending somebody's ear a little bit, and then going back and forth. I feel like a couple of the jokes that they had lined into that for granted they went out for 5 years, but they haven't seen each other in 3. I feel like the quick, witty back and forth wouldn't have been there between those two people during that conversation. Because there were times when, the one would say something, the other one would catch on to it. It was a little bit too scripted, I guess, in some parts of it.
You're talking about his ex-girlfriend, the one who's engaged? Well, if you think about it, they knew each other for years prior.
No, that's true.
So...
there was that, and I guess, I don't know. You brought up that scene, but the main thing that I was kind of talking about was him and his friend.
Dante and what the hell's his name?
Randall.
Yeah.
I can't remember it now. When they're both behind the Quickie Mart counter, and they're not talking about the porn that he bought, and the uptight customers I'm offended. Not that part. But there was another one where they go from one discussion to another, and I'm just Randall was remind me of every person I ever knew whose ego was too big for them.
Yeah. Yeah, Randall is... I could do with a lot less Randall. I like Dante.
Yeah.
And I like Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Randall is annoying, but I think he's meant to be annoying.
Well, yeah, because everybody knows that one person who has maybe 2 people they talk to.
And then when he takes it upon himself to break up with Dante's girlfriend for him, we all know somebody that
that has that. Because I knew a kid like that in college, where I knew a couple people who thought this kid was a genius, and then I had one conversation with them, and I'm just oh my God, you're talking in circles, dude, you're talking in circles. What the hell are you saying?
What do you think of Jay and Silent Bob?
For being introduced the way that they were, I thought it was great. And then Silent Bob's one and only line in the entire movie was perfect.
He does that every movie. Every time he talks, is worth it.
Yeah.
Like, the best is Chasing Amy. But we'll probably get to that down the road. Like, there's a lot of other things we need to cover. But
I'm definitely willing to watch more Kevin Smith stuff, mainly because this is his first film, and I'm not going to be somebody who's like, well, I saw this one and I was bored with it, so I'm not going to bother with anything else that he did. I'm not going to do that.
And to be fair, Kevin Smith's probably the reason we have this podcast.
Well, no. He is. I have the utmost respect for this guy because of what he means for the modern, like I said before, geek and nerd culture when it comes to Star Wars and Star Trek and sci-fi and you know and even the DC and Marvel movies. I mean, for crying out loud, he named his daughter Harley
Quinn. Yeah.
So I mean, the guy. I follow his Twitter feed. And I hardly go on Twitter, hence why I never know what he's doing. But I still have him followed. But so I'm going to give the guy a ton more chances. I'll watch a lot of his movies, and
we'll skip the bad ones. But, but yeah, like the reason I say he's the reason we have this podcast is because I listened to, I think, 2 of his podcasts, Fat Man on Batman and Hollywood Babylon.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, people will say, hey, I started a podcast because of you. Because one of the things he always pushes in his podcast when he's doing Q&As and everything is, good for you, go out and make shit.
Yeah.
Like, even if nobody listens, go out and make something that you want to do. Like, get a friend and talk.
Yeah.
And then if you enjoy yourselves, then that's all that matters.
Exactly.
And that's why we have this podcast. Like, we're making our podcast.
And that statement that he makes during that perfectly shows in this film.
Exactly.
He made a movie that he wanted to make.
With his friends.
And the one and again, I said about the soundtrack, and I loved the cat, and I said the rest of the movie I was kind of bored with, and I have mentioned that I did like some of the scenes in it, but like I said, overall, like, when I say that I was bored with it, it just dragging.
Yeah.
Like, granted, I started watching it maybe around 9:45, and about halfway through, I got up and I drank, like, I got coffee to keep myself awake, to keep on watching the movie, because it's just like, and the fact that it's black and white doesn't bother me at all, because the past movie we did, it's black and white. It's my favorite film of all time.
That's actually why we did this one, because like, what's another black and white movie we can talk about?
But it's just I definitely, it's probably a movie I'm never going to on my own watch just because I want to watch it. I'll probably watch it with a group of people if they see it, because I feel like in a group of people it might be a little bit better to watch.
Where you can debate Empire or Jedi.
Empire or Jedi.
Which brings me to the most important question I have for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Empire or Jedi?
Empire.
Good man.
I'm not a Randall.
Don't be a Randall, be a Dante.
Exactly. Just don't be as confused.
Yeah.
What I was going to get onto about it, where I was going with a little bit, was how much this movie shows the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the mid-90s. It was perfect style, outlook, like just the way that the movie feels. Like, it was pure mid-90s.
I think it was early 90s.
Well, it was...
I think it was 93.
94, I think it was. So technically that's mid.
I guess so.
Yeah. 94
I think it might have premiered in 93 at, like, Sundance or something.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Yeah.
It always gets weird with those, like, indie films that premiere early or whatever.
It is,
but yeah, it does feel 90s.
It's definitely 90s, especially... I knew it was the 90s when they showed him lacing up his combat boots.
Yeah, I was like, that's 90s. Because I always... Like, this is one of those films I remember, like, plot points, but I don't remember, like, details like that. Yeah. Like, I remember that she has sex with a dead guy in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember, like, the like, little shots of, like, the cat and the boots.
Mm-hmm. With him lacing up his boots, and then they show him walking into the funeral with his khaki pants tucked into the combat boots, like he's a freaking paratrooper. But then again, that was the 90s, and that was style, and that was grunge. So, and a little bit punk.
Yeah. What did you think of the humor in this?
Middle school.
Middle school?
Middle school humor.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the jokes and a lot of the stuff that they were saying and doing, I started having flashbacks like, That's why that kid in middle school in 8th grade always repeated that line constantly. Like, that's why that kid would always shake his head and walk weird coming into a room.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing the Randall walk. Like now a bunch of stuff that I just looked and kind of raised my eyebrow at all now kind of makes sense.
Yeah. People base their life off of Clerks.
And I'm not sure how much I don't think it changes how I approve or disapprove of those actions, but
yeah, yeah, it definitely. Well, and you got to figure like these are a lot of people he knew from high school.
Oh yeah.
So some of that would
the scene where they're going to the funeral and Randall goes, "Oh, come on, it's 4:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. How many people come by that place?" And they show everybody pounding on the glass, and you see 2 people are just laughing hysterically as they're doing it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a low budget private movie because you wouldn't, because it's like something like that wouldn't get by. Because I mean, like in the one bottom corner where there are no stickers, there's a girl's face wearing sunglasses, and she's pounding on the glass, and she's just laughing hysterically. It's funny, but that wouldn't get by in a major movie.
No, this was done independently and then picked up by Miramax. So
yeah, which they're probably made. Honestly, this movie's probably made more money in the past 10 years than it had when it first came out.
Probably, yeah. Because if you look at just the soundtrack alone, like the vinyl for it.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The soundtrack to this movie is one of the best that I've ever seen. Granted, I'm being very biased because it's really, but like I said, it's not my favorite era and genre of music, but the bands that are on it are core to the music I listen to.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Clerks 2 in a long time, and I don't remember the soundtrack that well. All I remember is there's a dance sequence, ABC by the Jackson 5.
I want to see Clerks 2.
Yeah, you do?
I want to see Clerks 2 now.
We'll look that clip up after we record here. But yeah, it's one of the, about a year ago, I think, my wife and I started going through the View Askewiverse and watching everything.
Okay.
So we started with Mallrats and Chasing Amy.
Now, where does Mallrats fall into the whole Clerks thing, or is that a separate movie onto itself?
So it's Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, and then Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Okay.
Which I think you would enjoy because there's a lot of Star Wars cameos in it.
Well, see, and honestly, about Clerks, I was actually kind of disappointed in that aspect because I really thought there'd be more talk about
Star Wars?
Just Star Wars and other stuff in that genre.
Everything else. Like, it gets, like, Mallrats is a lot more comic book.
Okay.
But there's a lot of it there.
Okay.
Some of his movies are more heavy on it than Clerks is. Clerks 2, I think, has a good bit of it, too. Because I know there's I think it's a whole Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings argument.
Star Wars.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Jay and Silent Bob are supposed to come back in Moose Jaws, which is his next big film that he's doing, I think, next year.
Interesting.
It's like Jaws.
Yeah.
With a moose.
What did Kevin Smith have to do with Fanboys?
I don't know.
Or did he just do a camp because him and Jay are in Fanboys for like 5 seconds at a gas station.
He might just be a cameo as Jay and Silent Bob.
Okay.
Because they've done that for a few things where they just show up. Guy at gas station. So that's probably about all he did.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have him listed as Silent Bob.
Because Jay like runs out of the bathroom, and I'm not going to discuss what he's doing, but then Silent Bob comes over and takes the guy's money, and he's basically Jay's pimp. He's basically Fanboys.
It's always surprising to me. Like, I'm looking through Kevin Smith's IMDb, and it's like co-executive producer of Good Will Hunting. I was like,
really?
Yeah, because he helped get them.
Oh, the Greenlight Project.
Yeah. Well, he helped them get the thing to whoever needed to see the script to get it produced. So he got a credit for it.
Now I understand why Affleck went to be Batman. There's a connection there.
Well, yeah, because he's in Mallrats and he's the star of Chasing Amy,
and he's also in Dogma.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, him and Matt Damon both.
Yeah.
So I think Matt Damon's in. He might be in Chasing Amy. I don't think he's in Mallrats.
Mm.
But yeah, him and Ben used to be like up until about 10 years ago. They were still working together.
What happened 10 years ago? J-Lo?
Pretty much. Yeah.
And Geely.
No, you're not even kidding. Like, well, the last thing that I think they did together was, the last big thing they did together was Jersey Girl, and that was around the time of Geely and Bennifer.
Yeah.
And that film suffered because of it, because Geely was so bad.
Yeah.
Like Jennifer Lopez was supposed to have a bigger part in Jersey Girl, and then they ended up cutting her out almost completely.
Yeah.
And it was just a mess. So,
yeah.
but yeah, that's actually what happened.
Okay.
Like, you joke. That's pretty close. I think they still talk. Like, I think when he got Batman,
yeah,
Kevin Smith sent me like, "Hey, congrats, man! Like, if you ever want to come talk, I do a whole podcast about Batman.
Yeah,
like, let me know, please."
Yeah, yeah. But my overall thing with Clerks was that I was pretty I was bored with it, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But like I said, there were aspects to it that I liked.
Yeah.
But it's probably not a movie I'm going to ever watch again just because I want to.
Yeah, but you want to watch the sequel.
Oh, definitely.
The sequel is definitely a different film because they
Yeah.
start working at a fast food restaurant.
Like that's any better.
Like 15 years later.
Oh, God.
So I don't think I've ever seen it beginning to end, but yeah.
Okay.
So there you have it. That's Clerks. Would you recommend it to somebody who hasn't seen it?
Oh, I would, because I mean, it's Kevin Smith's first movie, and it kind of shows you where he like came from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so I would definitely. I just wouldn't really expect anybody to come back to me now and say, "Man, I love that movie."
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that. And hey,
You can appreciate it for what it is.
yeah, definitely.
Because it was right around the time of Tarantino getting his start with his indie film. So it was the start of indie film, and it was nothing like it is today. Where
Exactly.
You have indie films popping up on VOD every week.
Mm-hmm.
Very different beginnings, but this was pretty much one of the first independent films like that.
Yeah.
To be huge. So
that's good.
Yep.
Okay.
That's my Silent Bob impression.
I'm not doing a J impression. I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Yeah. All right. So, one thing I want to talk
Unless
about.
I want to shave both sides of my head.
I fast forwarded through the credits.
Yeah. Was there an end credit scene?
No, but at the very end, in every other movie, it says Jay and Silent Bob will return in whatever film's next. And in this one, it says Jay and Silent Bob will return in Dogma, which I had no idea they put at the end of the credits of this, because I guess Dogma was supposed to be next.
Yeah.
But then they did Mallrats and Chasing Amy in between.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not a lie.
Yeah.
There you have it. That's Clerks. For you have to watch this podcast, I'm Alan.
And I'm Ryan.
And we'll keep you posted on what we're watching next week. Bye.
Bye.